Hello everyone, my name is Quinn Knight and welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be ranking every villain in Star Wars Battlefront 2 from worst to best, and I have to say, ranking the villains was even harder than the light side heroes, as I generally find the villains are somewhat stronger than the heroes overall. With that being said, some of the villains are definitely more reliable and versatile than others. A lot of the villains are very situational and can range from excellent in one situation to downright useless in another. The biggest deciding factor while putting this list together was just how consistently useful each villain is. Certain villains can absolutely dominate in one situation, but be very weak in another. I also did my best to balance their usefulness between different game modes, so if a villain is very powerful in one game mode but quite weak in another, that would balance itself out to put them somewhere in the middle. I also fully understand that it is completely possible to do well with every single hero. I went on some high kill streaks with Iden Versio multiple times, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is the best choice. I also went over to my Discord and asked the community over there how they would rank the villains, and I took a lot of their opinions into consideration. With that being said, if you do want to join our brand new Discord, the link is in the description. We just made it a few days ago and it is already booming. Also, I am considering doing a mega video ranking every villain and every hero head to head, so if you'd like to see that video, let me know by leaving this video a like. It'll definitely be a lot of work to put that together, but if enough of you want it, I can get to work on that as soon as possible. Also, if you feel a certain hero is too high or too low, absolutely feel free to let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you guys are new around here and you love Star Wars, absolutely feel free to subscribe. In the last 30 days, we have gained over 25,000 new subscribers, which is complete insanity, and I want to thank you all so much for that. But anyways guys, with all of that being said, let's get into this. So taking our number 8 spot, we have Captain Phasma, and you guys probably saw this one coming. People have been crying for a Phasma buff since she was first added to Battlefront 2. Her movement speed is very slow, her staff is completely useless, and her gun is extremely inaccurate and deals the lowest damage out of any of the hero weapons, and to top that all off, Phasma's survivability is just a weaker version of Finn's big deal, as it only buffs Phasma and not any of the teammates surrounding her. Her sentry droid is situationally useful, but overall Phasma just doesn't hold up when compared to many of the other villains. Hopefully DICE completely reworks her staff strikes, as currently even attempting to use them is borderline suicidal, and they also should give her F11D a moderate buff so it can compete with the other hero weapons. Next up, we have Iden Versio, and it really pains me to rank Iden so low, as she is one of my personal favorite villains to use, even though she is undeniably weak, hence why Iden is yet another character the community has been hoping DICE would give a small buff. Her health is quite low at only 550 HP, and 2 of her 3 abilities are very weak in comparison to the other hero abilities. What puts Iden above Phasma is, well, her TL50 and her droid shield. I would rank Iden's TL50 very high up in the hierarchy of hero weapons in Battlefront 2, and the secondary fire is so powerful it occasionally feels straight up cheap. Her droid shield helps her to absorb some damage and preserve her very low HP, but Iden is currently much too fragile and can be taken down in just 2 shots from a Vanguard shotgun. I think Iden has the potential to be a fantastic villain by simply giving her a slight HP boost, giving her shock droid a quicker activation time, and either doing away with or completely reworking her pulse cannon. With all that being said, I still very much enjoy playing as Iden from time to time. Taking our number 6 spot, we have Kylo Ren, and like I said in my hero guide, Kylo is very much a jack of all trades when it comes to HVV. He has average health and average damage output, and he also has decent abilities when compared to the other heroes. His pull can score some quick easy kills on maps with ledges, his freeze is very solid but nowhere near as good as Chewie's shock grenade or even Lando's disabler, and his frenzy can range from devastating to a glitchy mess. Overall, Kylo is pretty decent in HVV, not the best but very average. His lightsaber deals lower damage than Vader's, and he just doesn't quite have the speed of Darth Maul, but he's still very competent. In Galactic Assault, well, Kylo's just not very good. His abilities, much like Luke's, don't do nearly enough damage without being upgraded, and his frenzy has a tendency to spaz out and not actually do anything. Kylo also doesn't have a star card that allows him to regen HP, which is always a huge detriment. Once again, it's not that hard to go on a streak with Kylo if you know what you're doing, but the other 2 saber users are just stronger overall. Coming in at number 5, we have Darth Vader, and this is where we're really getting into the really strong villains. Every villain from here on out is at the very least decent in both game modes. Vader's biggest strength comes from HVV, where he is one of the best on either side. His lightsaber deals the most damage of any saber user, his focused rage is unbelievably powerful, and his force choke and lightsaber throw are 2 abilities well suited for taking on other heroes. He also has the highest health of any hero in Battlefront 2, and once fully upgraded he has a whopping 1050 health, which makes him a downright tank. His biggest weakness is of course his mobility, and it's a big one. He's much slower than every other hero in the game, and this makes him very susceptible to being chased down and slaughtered by a coordinated team. His mobility also prevents him from getting to the action, so if you're playing with good teammates, you'll constantly miss out on kills in HVV. Still, Vader is very strong in Heroes vs. Villains, but in Galactic Assault, well, Vader just seems to suffer. I found he's very much a big walking target, and with as commonplace as supercharged sentries are in Battlefront 2, the only time Vader is a really good pick is on maps with a lot of cover in small areas, like the Death Star 2. If you can have a lot of cover, you can just destroy an enemy team before they know what hits them. Trying to play as Vader on like the first phase of Hoth will only end in misery, but Vader can be very strong in Galactic Assault, but he is much more situational than our top 4. Next up, we have Boba Fett, and if you played Battlefront 2 at all, it should be pretty clear why. When it comes to HVV, Boba is either the best or second best, as his rocket barrage is capable of taking out any hero in one go once fully upgraded. His EE3 is a bit annoying to deal with, but his jetpack makes escaping any situation incredibly easy, and his scan pulse is so nice for that unlimited jetpack fuel. Explaining why Boba is so good in Heroes vs. Villains is completely unnecessary. If you've played the game at all, you know. Even after the nerf, Boba is incredibly strong and a force to be reckoned with. On the other hand, in Galactic Assault, he's not quite as good, mostly due to his low health. He's very fragile if you aren't being careful, but he is surprisingly solid in GA once you know the terrain and spawns, and his rocket barrage can score you tons of easy kills. So coming in at number 3, we have Darth Maul, and I think Maul is the best example of a well-balanced, solid villain in pretty much any situation. His speed makes him very deadly even on open maps like Kashyyyk, every ability in his arsenal suits his playstyle very well, and his health and health regeneration stats are both very solid. I would say he's equally as strong in both Galactic Assault and Heroes vs. Villains, and a skilled, aggressive player can absolutely terrorize any enemy team. The only downside to Maul is his lack of a standard block, but his speed combined with his spin attack's ability to block damage more than make up for that. If you're a new player, I would really recommend trying your hand at Darth Maul. He's very easy to get the hang of, and once you do, you'll be unstoppable. Next up, we have Bossk, aka the king of being absolutely dominant in any situation. At long range, Bossk Relby works very well as a sniper rifle. Medium to close range, you can just pop your predator instincts and go to town with your grenade launcher, and at choke points, Bossk is downright nasty. His Dioxis is fantastic for holding back the enemy team, his proximity mines will take out any infantry class without a problem, and Bossk is also the only hero that you can always regenerate back to full health with. So no matter how much damage you've taken, you can always regenerate back to 600 HP without a problem. Bossk is very good in both HVV and Galactic Assault, but I would say he's slightly better in GA, mostly due to the way health regeneration works in Heroes vs. Villains, as simply being selected as the target will give any hero their full HP back. In Galactic Assault, long-term health is much more precious, and Bossk dominates any other hero or villain when it comes to that. So coming in at our number 1 spot, we have Palpatine, and well, I'm gonna be honest, I feel straight up dirty ever using Palpatine after the buff. Once upgraded, he is pretty much unstoppable. His lightning and dark aura can kill people through walls, which makes him a very easy character to use with very low risk to yourself. His chain lightning is absurdly powerful, and the greatest thing about him is his movement. Once you master jumping and using Palpatine's dash, you'll quickly become completely unkillable. Upgrading his health card to regen health every time you hit someone with chain lightning gives you borderline unlimited health, and from time to time he straight up feels cheap to use. If you've ever watched my streams, I was a Palpatine main before the buff, back when he was nowhere near as good as he is now, and even then he was a fantastic hero and probably would have ranked 3rd or 4th. But since then they've doubled his stamina and his health regen, and now he's just an absolute beast, and Palpatine tops our list of the ranked villains. Guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by leaving this video a thumbs up, and once again, if your opinion differs from mine, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll be reading each and every one of them. If you're new around here and you love all things Star Wars, absolutely feel free to subscribe. I would definitely appreciate that. And thank you all so much for watching, and bye. I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm